Did it last 30 years?
Well, after that, because
30 years. 30 years after it. Yes, yes.
30 years later.
Well, the desire to have an author is a reflection of what critics need. It's not a reflection necessarily of reality. Critics need one artist, a painter, a composer, a vocalist, a sculptor, an architect. They need one artist so that they can write intelligently about how the childhood of this artist influenced their work and the vision of this artist. And so they need an artist. Film is a collaborative art form. I mean, one could argue, for example, that Bette Davis was the auteur of her films because Hollywood had a machine to make Bette Davis movies, right? And so the desire to use the name auteur, which is a French word, right? I mean, why not use the English word or the Spanish word? Why not just say author? Because if you said author, you would ask the question, but did he write it? If he didn't write it, how is he the author? And so we say auteur, which means sorta, kinda, like ish author, right? But be real clear. The difference between a good film and a great film is the director. That master vision, master interpretation takes good and makes it great. But the difference between a good film and no film is the writer. The ideal, I would think, in most cases, is that writers become directors. Because directing is simply the completion of what the writer began. And so when you have people like Ingmar Bergman and Oliver Stone and Larry Kasdan and on, when fine writers become directors, I think that the possibility of a great film is at its best. On the other hand, many, many wonderful films that we all love were written by 3 or 4 writers collaborating with a director. Casablanca, being one of my favorites, was written by a number of people and directed by a great interpreter. And so the film is such a clutter of creativities: acting, directing, writing, design, producers often. I think producers have an argument that in many ways they're the auteur because they brought all these other artists together and created a chemistry. So you have to look at each film and ask, if whose contribution is the most vital to the essence of this. And my feeling is why does there have to be one artist? Why can't we just look at the film and talk about the values of the film and the qualities of the film, realizing that everybody, including the makeup person, had some contribution to it. The word "by" is always very suspicious. And the greatest of filmmakers understood this. Alfred Hitchcock could not write. Okay? I mean, he couldn't write a coherent letter. And he knew that he was at the mercy of the quality of the writers. I mean, what's the difference between Vertigo and Family Plot? The master directed both of them. Why is Family Plot such a bore and Vertigo such a... Right? It's the writing. And so Hitchcock said the 3 things necessary to create a great film are a great screenplay, a great screenplay, and a great screenplay. And he laughed at the notion that people called him an auteur because he knew how much he was absolutely dependent upon the writing. But a film by credit is a matter of career. If directors have career problems like everybody else, and they want that reputation that they are the auteur, that it is a film by them. And the Writers Guild and the Directors Guild have been fighting over this for years. I mean, what possible sense of the word by is a film by somebody who didn't write it? But it's the world in which we live, and we owe all of this to the French, who invented this nonsense in the first place, okay? No. No, it's not possible.